Let food be thy medicine, and medicine be thy food. This famous quote, commonly attributed to Hippocrates thousands of years ago, still carries profound relevance today, especially in a world where many people underestimate how deeply nutrition affects the health, balance, and functioning of the human body. Hello, beloved souls. It's Adele here. Today, I want to speak about the importance of awareness, habits, and why paying attention to what we repeatedly consume matters far more than many people realize. Because the body is constantly trying to maintain a healthy internal balance, something known scientifically as homeostasis. In simple terms, homeostasis refers to the body's ability to keep its internal environment stable and functioning properly. That includes things like maintaining healthy blood sugar levels, proper hydration, hormonal balance, body temperature, electrolyte balance, energy balance, and even the body's acid-base balance, all of which are essential for the body to function, heal, repair, and survive properly. The human body is incredibly intelligent, and every single day it is constantly working to maintain that balance. However, the body can only compensate for so long if we repeatedly give it too little of what it needs or too much of what harms it. Many people assume that if something does not create immediate symptoms, then it must be harmless, healthy enough, or not too bad to consume regularly. Yet, over time, the body responds not only to nutritional deficiencies such as insufficient protein, fiber, magnesium, vitamins, or other essential nutrients, but also to excesses, whether that is excessive sugar, alcohol, ultra-processed foods, excessive calories, or chronically overeating beyond what the body actually needs. And this is why awareness matters. Just as we track our finances to understand where our money is going, I believe we should also pay far closer attention to what we repeatedly consume, since our daily habits quietly accumulate over time. And then eventually the body reflects those repeated choices in one way or another. Let's talk about the importance of recording what we eat. This is precisely why I believe recording what we eat can be such an important and eye-opening practice, because many people assume they already know how healthy their diet is until they actually document everything they consume, honestly, over several days. Very often people say things like, I eat pretty healthy, or I do not think my diet is too bad. And yet, once their intake is properly analyzed, they may discover patterns they were previously unaware of, whether that is excessive sugar intake, insufficient protein, inadequate fiber, low vegetable or water intake, excessive processed foods, frequent snacking, emotional eating, or simply consuming far more energy than the body actually requires. And this is important because, a healthy body weight alone does not automatically mean someone is truly healthy internally. Many people appear healthy on the outside, yet may still be dealing with nutrient deficiencies, high cholesterol, insulin resistance, hypertension, chronic inflammation, digestive issues, or other health conditions developing quietly in the background. This is why awareness matters so much, because we cannot properly change or improve habits that we are unwilling to examine honestly. And thankfully, recording food intake nowadays has become far easier and more time efficient than it used to be, because apps such as My Net Diary or MyFitnessPal can help people track their energy intake, macronutrients, vitamins, minerals, hydration, and overall nutritional patterns more efficiently. Some apps now even include features such as barcode scanning, voice logging, or AI meal scanning, where users can simply point their phone camera at a meal for the app to easily estimate foods, portion sizes, calories, and nutrient intake automatically, making dietary tracking much faster and more practical for everyday life. And just to clarify, I'm not affiliated with either app. I just, simply find them useful. And while self-awareness is important, I also believe that people dealing with chronic illnesses or significant health concerns should strongly consider seeking guidance from qualified nutrition professionals, such as dietitians or nutritionists, if they have not already done so, because professional guidance can be incredibly valuable when managing or improving long-term health conditions. However, before professionals can properly assess somebody's diet and provide meaningful recommendations, they first need accurate information to work with. And that is precisely why honestly recording what we repeatedly eat and drink each day is so important. All right, now let's talk about our body as a vehicle. One of the simplest ways to understand the long-term impact of nutrition is to simply think about the human body in the same way we think about a car that we genuinely value and want to maintain properly. A car is the vehicle we rely on to carry us from one destination to another. And in much the same way, the body is the vessel through which we experience life itself. It is the physical vehicle through which we think, move, feel, love, work, grow, express ourselves, and embody who we truly are. And if we want to live fully, experience life more deeply, and maintain health and vitality for as long as possible, then the way we care for this vessel becomes incredibly important. Most people understand that if we repeatedly put the wrong fuel or poor quality fuel into a car, neglect maintenance, ignore warning signs, or continuously overwork the system, eventually our car begins developing problems, even if the damage is not immediately visible at first. Sometimes people accidentally put petrol into a diesel vehicle or a diesel into a petrol vehicle. And not long after, the car begins malfunctioning because the system is no longer receiving what it was designed to function properly with. And in many ways, the human body works similarly. Our body is incredibly intelligent and remarkably resilient, which is why many people can maintain unhealthy habits for years before serious symptoms begin appearing. But resilience should not be mistaken for invincibility, because eventually the effects of smoking, excessive alcohol, pharmaceutical or recreational drugs, chronic stress, sleep deprivation, nutrient deficiencies, excessive ultra-processed foods, long-term overeating or undereating, long-term physical inactivity, or other harmful habits can begin affecting the body's ability to maintain healthy balance and proper function. Yet, the body still responds biologically to everything we repeatedly expose it to. And this is something I think many people overlook, because diseases and health conditions often do not suddenly appear overnight. Very often, the body has been under strain quietly in the background for many years before symptoms eventually become noticeable enough to demand our attention. Which is why I believe nutrition should not only be viewed as something related to body weight or physical appearance, but as one of the foundational ways we either support or burden the body's long-term functioning, repair, resilience, and overall health over time. All right, let's talk about the basics of nutrition. Developing a basic understanding of nutrition can be incredibly empowering, because once people understand the foundations, they become far less vulnerable to misinformation, extreme diets, social media trends, and conflicting health advice online. And I think a good place to begin is step by step, following a clear and practical structure. All right, let's talk about step 1. Calculate your BMI, which stands for Body Mass Index. BMI is a simple measurement comparing body weight relative to height. And whilst it's not perfect, it can still provide a useful general indication of whether somebody may be underweight, within a healthy weight range, overweight, or obese. However, just keep in mind BMI does have limitations, particularly for athletes or highly muscular individuals, because muscle mass may place someone within an overweight category despite them still being metabolically healthy. Step 2. Calculate your BMR, or basal metabolic rate. BMR refers to the amount of energy the body requires at complete rest, simply to maintain essential life functions such as breathing, circulation, organ function, cellular repair, and body temperature regulation. One commonly used and well-validated method for estimating BMR is the Mifflin-Senjor equation, which takes factors such as age, sex, height, and body weight into account. Alright, let's talk about step 3. Calculate your EER, or estimated energy requirement, which represents the approximate amount of energy required each day after physical activity is taken into consideration. This is where PAL, or physical activity level, becomes important, because somebody who's highly active naturally requires far more energy than somebody who is mostly sedentary throughout the day. And importantly, EER is not fixed forever, because energy requirements change over time depending on physical activity, muscle mass, body weight, aging, illness, pregnancy, health conditions, and major lifestyle changes. Alright, let's talk about the next step. Step number 4. Begin understanding your macronutrient and micronutrient requirements. Macronutrients include carbohydrates, proteins, and fats, all of which are essential for energy production, growth, repair, hormone production, brain function, and countless other physiological processes. Micronutrients include vitamins and minerals, which are required in smaller amounts but remain essential for proper health and functioning. And alongside both macro and micronutrients, proper hydration is equally essential, because water plays a critical role in temperature regulation, circulation, energy levels, digestion, cognitive function, nutrient transport, and countless other physiological processes necessary for survival and overall health. This is where nutrient reference values become very important, because nutritional requirements vary depending on factors such as age, biological sex, activity levels, health conditions, medications, and specific health goals. For those interested, check out the resources later on in the video to help you monitor your daily nutrient intake more accurately. Step 5. To supplement or not to supplement? That is the question, isn't it? Nowadays, supplementation has become extremely popular, particularly through social media, fitness culture, wellness marketing, and online health trends. Whilst certain supplements can be beneficial, even necessary, in specific situations, they should generally support a healthy diet rather than replace it. In most cases, obtaining nutrients primarily through a balanced and sufficient diet should ideally remain the foundation before relying heavily on supplements, because whole foods provide not only vitamins and minerals but also fiber, phytonutrients, and complex nutritional interactions that supplements alone often cannot fully replicate. Of course, certain individuals may still require supplementation in specific situations, particularly when deficiencies, medical conditions, dietary restrictions, pregnancy, aging, or increased physiological demands are present. However, supplementation should ideally be approached thoughtfully and based on genuine need rather than hype, marketing, or self-diagnosis alone. All right, let's move on to step 6. Be clear about your goal because nutritional requirements can vary significantly depending on an individual's health condition, lifestyle, activity levels, and personal objectives. For example, someone trying to conceive may need to pay closer attention to nutrients such as iron and folate to help support fertility and pregnancy health. In much the same way, somebody trying to lose weight, maintain muscle health as they age, improve energy levels, reduce chronic fatigue, manage common non-communicable diseases such as diabetes, hypertension, cancer, heart disease, or kidney disease, or reduce dependence on pharmaceutical medications, may need to pay closer attention to specific nutrients, sodium intake, energy intake, macronutrient balance, or other dietary factors relevant to their particular health goals. And then for physically active individuals or athletes, nutrition can also play a major role in supporting training performance, adequate recovery, hydration, muscle repair, glycogen replenishment, endurance, and ensuring the body receives sufficient energy and nutrients both during regular training and around sporting events or competitions. Because ultimately, nutrition should never be approached as a one-size-fits-all formula, since what supports one person's health optimally may not be the most suitable approach for somebody else. At the end of the day, health really affects almost every part of our lives. When the body is functioning well, we often notice the difference in so many ways, whether that's having, more energy throughout the day, sleeping better, thinking more clearly, feeling emotionally calmer, moving more comfortably, or simply feeling more alive and more at ease within ourselves. And for many spiritually minded people, caring for the physical body can also strengthen connection with the soul or the higher self, because the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual aspects of who we are all affect one another. When the physical body is properly nourished, rested, hydrated, and supported, many people naturally feel more grounded, more present, more emotionally balanced, and more connected within themselves. The biggest takeaway to remember from this video is that awareness matters Sometimes simply taking the time to honestly record what we eat and drink for several days can already reveal habits and patterns we were not fully aware of before. Whether that's, excessive sugar intake, emotional eating, insufficient protein, nutrient deficiencies, frequent snacking, or simply eating far more or far less than the body actually needs. And once we become aware of those patterns, we then have the opportunity to make more conscious and supportive choices for our health moving forward. Because ultimately, small, repeated habits accumulate over time, and the body continuously responds to the conditions we repeatedly create through our lifestyle, behaviors, and eating patterns. And this is why paying close attention to what we repeatedly eat and drink is so important. Not from a place of fear, guilt, or restriction, but from a place of care, respect, and genuine responsibility for the body that carries us through life every single day. All right. Before we finish today's video, I also have a little surprise for one of you. I'll be selecting one existing subscriber to receive a free educational dietary analysis based on a 1 day up to 3 day food record. So if you'd like to participate, please make sure you are subscribed to the channel, and then please use the contact information provided on screen and answer these 3 questions in one short sentence each. Why you feel you should be chosen, what you love most about this channel, and what you feel could be improved moving forward. Entries will remain open until 11:59 p.m. on Tuesday, 12th of May, 2026, Australian Eastern Standard Time. And the selected subscriber will receive an email from me by Sunday, 17th of May, with a simple template to fill out for me to complete the dietary analysis. Please note that only the selected subscriber will be contacted, and the final decision will remain at my discretion. With that being said, thank you so much for spending this time with me today. And if this message spoke to your heart, I hope it inspires you to become more conscious and intentional with the way you nourish and care your body each day. Together, we raise the frequency of Earth. Every time one more person begins creating greater balance, awareness, vitality, and responsibility in the way they care for their body, health, and overall well-being. See you in the next video, where we'll take another step toward health, balance, and higher vibration.